Welcome to Liberty Awakened. I am Chris, a Patriot, and today we're going to do a Patriots news brief / discourse. And the reason we're going to do this is because, honestly, we need to figure out where the truth lies and where we are headed as a nation in regards to what we thought or what we think is going on with the crimes and the illegalities within our government. What I'm going to point out today are two sides of an argument, and we're going to have to conclude with a conclusion that I'm going to let you draw in the comments below. Now, in the description of this video, I will give you the articles that I'm using to look at, as well as the YouTube videos that will be on the opposite side of this argument. The first side of the argument is that Jeff Sessions is patiently doing his job, that he is slowly, methodically building the case to bring down swamp creatures. The Last Refuge with the Conservative Treehouse has an amazing article that talks about AG Sessions' letter to the House and Senate, highlights a lengthy review by prosecutor John W. Huber. They go through and point out with the letter what has probably been going on for quite a while. That Sessions did just bring in Huber most recently, that he's probably been working in conjunction with Horowitz for some time. Now, guys, I'm surmising this in just a encapsulated form because I want you truly to read the Conservative Treehouse's article, see what they have to say, follow their timeline, and see how the pieces fit together. Because I think it's important, before we go on and look at the opposite side of things, with a different point of view, that a lot of us have felt for a while that Jeff Sessions, A, isn't doing his job, B, is just inept, but it truthfully could be more than that. But the Conservative Treehouse is pointing out in their article, they're looking at Jeff Sessions not only doing his job, but following a systematic way of taking down the swamp, the shadow government, the swamp creatures, however we want to look at it and frame that side of it. In some regards, I can see how this works. Jeff Sessions, for one reason or another, there's been no leaks coming out of the DOJ. And we got leaks everywhere else in the government, but for some reason, nothing there. Mueller, we know exactly what's going on with Mueller. And I'm going to fit a little bit of that Mueller investigation here before we transition and look at the counter argument to what is happening with Jeff Sessions. So, according to the Conservative Treehouse, as I said, they're looking at Sessions methodically doing his job, plodding along, and getting ready to drop the hammer. Dick Morris has pointed out as another source, and I will put a couple of Dick Morris's videos in here, that there are grand juries being put together, that they are looking at Hillary's various crimes, mostly within the foundation crimes, and again, those are tied to Hillary's emails. So you've got that side of the argument, and you can see where that's at. And then this next part would seem to fit, that Jeff Sessions is getting close to the truth when you've got Mueller, who has come out and now is supposedly looking harder at Sessions' supposed contact with a Russian diplomat during a Republican event, and even possibly looking at the Republicans' planks that were taken out before the convention that had anything to deal with Russia. They were dealing with the Ukraine, and they were not put in there. So Mueller is now investigating that. He's also reportedly gone after an ally of Trump's and basically stopped him at an airport and questioned him. Now, folks, I'm not getting into a lot of this. I'm just painting this as scene. Okay, if Sessions is doing his job, it looks like Mueller's now going to attack that to keep him from continuing on what he's doing. That's one way to look at this. Now, the flip side of this argument, this comes from Aim for Truth. They have put out here recently, within the last day or so, 2 different videos pointing to basically Sessions needing to go, Sessions needing to be fired. But it's not for what you might think. It has nothing to do with his inactivity, even though they do state that as part of it. But it actually goes much deeper than that. And it actually involves more than just Sessions in regards to where they take their argument. And I will include in the description both Aim for Truth videos in regards to this. And then within their videos, please look at the articles that they use, that they draw from, and read those. They're very detailed as well. And it really does draw us to another conclusion. But in a nutshell, what they're looking at is they are, in their last video that says Sessions is corrupt, they're painting a way in which to not only show that Sessions is involved in a lot of what has happened in Washington, D.C., he may be complicit in the crimes of Hillary Clinton. Yeah, let that sink in for just a moment there. Hillary Clinton's crimes, folks, did not just involve Democrats. Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, and the whole cabal is on both sides of the political divide. So we need to wrap our minds around that and understand we're not dealing with a side of a political argument. Truth be told, the political divide is only keeping us divided, so we only see it as us versus them, R's versus D's, C's versus L's. That's not what's happening here. Our government is corrupt. Our government is corrupt. That means all of it, not part of it, not some of it, not just a little bit, all of it. Excuse me. Aim for Truth looks at not only Sessions having ties to Uranium One. Yep, Uranium One is not going away. And we know that Mueller, Rosenstein, we'll get the pronunciation correct, are all tied within this, along with Schultz and the Awan brothers. What? Yeah, we've got ties back going to the Awan brothers, Devery, Wasserman, Schultz, and that whole cabal tied into this whole mix of problems that are happening that we really need to take a serious look at here. Jeff Sessions may be unable to do his job because of all of his, lack of a better way to put it, crimes. Because if he exposes one of them, it's going to expose him, and it'll begin to unravel everything. But it goes further than just Jeff Sessions. They bring in not only Mueller and Comey, those that we've talked about before in regards to in the news and looking at, and Obama, Hillary, Rosenstein, as I said, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, the Awan brothers. We are looking at possibly others who could be involved in this that we may not have thought of before. Christopher Wray, the director of the FBI. Wasn't he in the FBI criminal division? What was he doing during the Uranium One scandal and CFIUS and all this going on? Wasn't he aware of the bribery that was happening? The fact that we know we have a witness that's been silenced, that's only recently begun to speak, and we, the public, haven't heard it. It's been kept behind closed doors. We've gotten little leaks here or there about what's happening, but they've talked about continually the bribes that were happening and the different tie-ins and things like that. And Aim for Truth will do a much better job than I can in the synopsis of pointing out the companies and the different things and the wrangling that was happening in Washington, D.C. But Ray was there. Another one that may shock you, Trey Gowdy. Why is it that Trey Gowdy only took Benghazi so far? Why is it he only barked as loud as he could bark and then suddenly stopped? And now Trey Gowdy is looking to get out. What ties does Gowdy have to Uranium One? Who isn't tied to Uranium One? You got to remember, Sessions served on a lot of these committees in which the different parts of Uranium One and some of these other scandals have been happening, and either he's completely blind to it, which would really make him inept to do his job, or he's completely complicit in it up to his neck to where he can't do his job because he is so twisted and contorted in every way. And the same thing about Trey Gowdy. How twisted, what's the word I want to look for here? Really divided is his loyalty. Is he looking to get out so that he can become part of the senior executive services? How many of these members that we're talking about here being a part of the senior executive services, that shadow government that Abel Danger first pointed out, along with Serco, and now Aim for Truth, Innovations for Truth, have begun to pull forward those with actual names, with the documents that are there, the plum book and all that. So, a lot to take in here, folks. A lot to look at, Patriots. So on one side of the argument, let's frame this up real quick as we close. We've got Jeff Sessions doing his job slowly but surely in a non-political manner, trying to do his best to rid the cabal out of our government, to pull these creatures out, expose them, and truly bring them to justice. For some, it seems to taking way too long. As I said, Dick Morris has pointed out there are grand juries that are being put in place. There's different things that are happening. We see that Mueller is possibly doing a counterattack, or is this just another song and dance to make us see the game that they're also well at making us see, seeing things only as R's versus D's, L's versus C's, however you want to look at it, but keeping us politically divided so it's always us versus them? Or do we take it to the full next step and really open back the veil and see the corruption goes much deeper, much further than we thought, and it is much more entangled than we thought before? Is Sessions bought and sold to the cabal? Is he part of the problem? And if he's part of the problem, then he's got to go. So below in the comments, I would like to know what your thoughts are. Do you think Aim for Truth is out on a limb, doing their own thing, can't be trusted, that their information isn't truthful? And they do use articles that tie things in here, and they do point you in a direction so that you can see it? Or are we looking at what the conservative treehouse says is possible and it's there? Or here's the last thought as we close. We know that the mainstream media is complicit in a lot of things, and we're always quick to blame it and say, oh, they're only pointed in a certain political view, in a certain political way. But maybe the bigger 100, 200, 300,000 foot view is simply this. They're not just complicit in one side of a political argument, they're complicit into the whole thing, because by keeping us fighting against one another, looking at it only through an R versus D mentality when it comes to news, they're truly able to hide things so well that when we do good work like the conservative treehouse does, that they're able to kind of paint a narrative that they want us to see and find that truthfully isn't real. And I want to make this perfectly clear, 100%, no doubt. I do not believe either Aim for Truth, Conservative Treehouse, Dick Morris, or any of the other truth seekers out there are intentionally misleading us. But what I am going to say is, I believe breadcrumbs are being left by the mainstream media to cause us to go down trails that may not be 100% accurate. And so that we may have to take pieces and parts of all these arguments to truly figure out what's going on. And not just be locked in and say, oh, this is it. This is the only world to go. This is the only way to see it. So we need to be truly awakened, truly woke to what is happening to us currently in this divided era of news that we have. So folks, please leave your comments, leave me your thoughts. Are we on a path to getting rid of the cabal, or we really haven't uncovered what's truly there and how sick and how deep this truly runs? Thank you for your time. We appreciate you listening to Liberty Awaken, and I am your host, Chris A. Patriot. Till next time.